Welcome, Eagles everywhere, to the NovaCare Complex. It's our continuing coverage of the Philadelphia Eagles 2020 regular season, presented by DraftKings. And we're here in South Philadelphia on a rainy day, and the Eagles inside the practice bubble here at the NovaCare Complex. I'm Eagles insider Dave Spadaro, along with Fran Duffy. Hello, Fran.
Hello, Dave.
Ready to go here. It's Dallas week, man.
Let's go, man. It's been a couple weeks since we were able to knock this out. This is it's a big week.
Let me just speak for everybody at the very top here and say Dallas sucks.
Of
All right,
course.
we can all be in agreement with that. A big NFC East matchup on Sunday night at Lincoln Financial Field. 2-4-1. 2-4-1 Eagles. 2-5 Cowboys. Battle for first place in the NFC East. We'll get into that in just a bit here, Fran. Some really interesting goings on in Dallas as they get rid of some of their veteran weight on the roster, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. And we want to watch today to see who is practicing for an Eagles team that, Fran, it appears we're getting a little bit healthier, and that is great news.
It's huge. You know, obviously, look, the nature of this year with the different rules with injured reserve and putting guys on, it's a bad look. It's a bad feeling, right, for the fans when you see, like, this guy goes on injured reserve, this guy goes on injured reserve. But it's different than other years in that so many of these guys have the ability to come back. So, you know, seeing that Dallas Goddard gets back on the practice field, understanding that Miles Sanders is very close to being on his way back, seeing Jaylen Raeger being activated, it's certainly great news for this offense.
And there is cornerback Darius Slay Jr., Big Play Slay, who in the past in two matchups against Amari Cooper, when Slay was in Detroit and Cooper was in Oakland and then Dallas, excellent success against Cooper. Now the question is, do you match up against Cooper, or are you going CD Lamb, or are you going Michael Gallup, or are you just saying, hey, Darius, you stay on one side. We're going to play a little zone today?
It's a good question. My guess is they'll probably mix things up, right? Because, I think that these three receivers for Dallas, they have kind of specific roles. You look at Michael Gallup, he almost always lines up to the backside. It's a lot of vertical routes, go, go, go. And in the current structure of this offense, he's not really used all that often because they don't really have the time to be able to work vertically down the field. So while he's dangerous and he's a threat to create a big play, they haven't been able to hook up with him that often this year. You look at Amari Cooper, he lines up inside, outside, one of the best route runners in the NFL. He seems like the guy you would want to match up with. And then CD Lamb, he's doing his majority of the work in the slot. So if you want to match up on CD Lamb, that means Darius Slay is going to play inside. You got to figure out who's going to line up outside.
And speaking of receivers, we take a look at the Eagles' #1 draft pick, Jaylen Raeger, who is on the practice field. He's got that left thumb bandaged. We will see if he is ready to go for Sunday night. Fran, let's talk about the wide receivers here. Deshaun Jackson goes on IR. We wish him the very best of luck. Tough injury for him. Alshon Jeffrey, a calf injury in addition to his foot injury. I like this group of young receivers. I like, obviously, Travis Fulgham. I think John Hightower has bounced back and is a legitimate speed guy. I think Quez Watkins down the line will develop. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside making plays here and there, a little bit baby steps there. And then you get Raeger in the mix with Ward. You got something here, Fran. You got something you can work with, a bit of versatility. Certainly you've got a lot more speed. And I think that Carson has really gained a very quick trust with this young group.
You know, the difference between the end of last year and where they're at currently now, despite the same injuries with some of the older guys, is that with these young guys, I think you have a vision for what they could be in the future, not just for 2020, but you look at 2021, 2022, and you say, okay, like, this is what Jaylen Raeger is now. What's he going to be 3 years from now? How is Travis Fulgham going to develop 3 years from now? What is John Hightower? What's his role going to be? It's really fun to kind of imagine this group growing together with Carson Wentz and watching them continue to develop.
But in the right now, Travis Fulgham is a playmaker. And he has done it against top cornerbacks. He's done it against extra attention. He's gotten open. He's made big plays down the stretch of games. I mean, I really like the way he has matured quickly. I'm as much as I am looking to the future with that group, obviously we have to account for them now as the Eagles marching toward the NFC East title in 2020. Now, the question is, as Rodney McLeod loosens up here, who plays quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday? We know Andy Dalton is still in concussion protocol. Mike McCarthy saying that he doesn't think that that Dalton will come out of that protocol until late in this week at the very least. So in the meantime, Ben DiNucci, 7th-round draft pick, James Madison University, FCS championship game guy, big-time producer at James Madison, previously at Pitt, 6'3", 209 pounds, Fran. If he is the guy that TJ Edwards and the Eagles defense will line up against on Sunday night, what are they looking for in that quarterback?
Well, I think ultimately, honestly, I don't know that their offense is going to change all that much with what they've done over the last couple of weeks. And a part of that I mentioned earlier with Michael Gallup, they have not had the time to really establish a downfield passing attack. So with Andy Dalton in the game, it has been a lot of empty sets, making it easy for Andy Dalton and making it easy for that offensive line. The ball is out. 1, 2, 3, out. 1, 2, 3, out. I think that's what the game plan would be if it was Andy Dalton. I think that same game plan will be installed for Ben DiNucci. So, look, he's going to be a young quarterback making his first NFL start. You're going to try and mix things up with him. He's a little bit of an undersized guy. He's not super toolsy, Dave. He's not the biggest, strongest arm. He's not the biggest, strongest guy. That's what you would expect from a 7th-round pick coming from a lower level of competition. The Eagles are going to mix things up and try and see if they can get after him a little bit.
I mean, look, what I've seen watching the Cowboys play with an offensive line that's in tatters, with Andy Dalton, who can't run away from the bad offensive line, against Arizona, against Washington, those teams blitzed, and they blitzed, and they blitzed, and they felt confident on the back end in coverage. Does Jim Schwartz do that?
So you look at what he did against Daniel Jones last week. They blitzed a lot, and
yes.
Daniel Jones has not been effective against the blitz this year. But the game that I almost kind of think of is go back to week 4 last year when the Eagles hosted the New York Jets. They were playing Luke Falk, who was in his second NFL start, did not play well, and they could not handle pressure well. The offensive line in New York was a disaster there last year with the Jets. So I think that's kind of the similar situation. The difference is Dallas's weapons are so much further ahead of the New York Jets at that point. So that's the difference there when you're looking at those two teams.
It is just a bizarre Dallas Cowboys team that comes into Lincoln Financial Field 32nd in the league against the run.
Yep.
Crazy numbers. The Washington football team over 200 yards rushing. The Browns over 300 yards rushing. Arizona 200 yard, 260 plus, 3 touchdowns. Eagles may not have Miles Sanders here. He hasn't practiced. We'll see if he's out there today. 34.7 points per game allowed by Dallas's defense. Darius Slay Jr., big play Slay, the life of the party.
Always. There was a stat, Dave, that we talked about this week on the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast, which you can find wherever podcasts can be found. The Dallas Cowboys last in the league in the run game defensively, yards before contact, so before somebody touches the running back. Then they are also second to last in yards after contact. So not only are they giving up a ton of ground immediately, but they are also one of the worst tackling teams in football. That is a bad combination for a defense.
And that's why this week they traded veteran defensive end Everson Griffin, who was second on the team in sacks with 2.5.
Yep.
That's why they cut Dontari Poe, who signed a 2-year contract in the offseason, played more defensive snaps than any other lineman, but unproductive. Cut him. Cut Darryl Worley, a cornerback safety who had really not played very much since he gave up an 80-yard touchdown pass to Christian Kirk of the Arizona Cardinals in that Monday night game a couple of weeks ago. Mike Nolan has his work cut out for him. Is his scheme so difficult? I mean, there's our touchdown maker right there, the spin master, Boston Scott, after that touchdown catch against the New York Giants on Thursday night. I guess we'll see a lot of him as well. But what is going on? What is the Mike Nolan scheme? Is it that difficult to figure out?
So the big thing is that they're completely flipping on their head what they did previously under Rod Marinelli and Chris Richard, where there were, like the Eagles, a one-gap attacking scheme. And now they've kind of adapted in their front seven to play a little bit more two-gap. They're at a base 3-4 scheme right now, and so they're doing different things up front with personnel that maybe weren't quite suited in terms of the guys that were there, and then the older guys that they brought in just weren't up to snuff. That Dontari Poe is one of those players, and they lose Gerald McCoy to the injury preseason. So I think when you look at what they're doing defensively, look, schematically, it's nothing super crazy. I mean, they play a ton of zone coverage on the back end. They'll play some man coverage on third down. Really, it comes down to being assignment sound, and that's the stuff that we don't know in terms of it being too complicated. The guys' eyes are all over the place. They talked about that in press conferences this week. So many of the touchdowns they've given up have been because, a guy's not doing his job. He's got his eyes here, and he's supposed to be worrying about his man in coverage. And that's something I wonder if the Eagles are going to try and see if they can prey on that this week. If you see the jet sweeps and the different backfield, reverses and, different play actions to try and distract those guys at the second and third level and try and create some big plays.
This is our continuing coverage of the Philadelphia Eagles 2020 regular season, presented by DraftKings. I'm Eagles insider Dave Spadaro, along with Fran Duffy. Eagles moving indoors today at the NovaCare Complex. This is the indoor facility. If you were to enter the parking lot at NovaCare, you would just continue straight ahead to this facility, which is a beautiful facility. It is not 100 yards, 70-yard field. Space limitations within the city of Philadelphia here, but it certainly serves the purpose as the Eagles go through the field goal kick portion of practice. And look, it is important. Jake Elliott is in a funk here. Has missed 3 of his last 4 kicks. Certainly has the backing of head coach Doug Peterson, special teams coordinator Dave Phipp. Every kicker experiences it, Fran.
Yep, no question.
And those who come out of it the fastest are the ones who live the longest in the NFL. And Jake has the ability. It's just a little hitch in the mechanics.
It's like every other position. It's about how they respond to that adversity, not just on the field, but in the locker room, in the meeting room, on the sidelines. After they make a mistake, how do they bounce back from that? Obviously, the coaches have plenty of confidence in Jake Elliott that he has shown, hey, he's going to get out of this. You just got to let him work his way out.
Miles Sanders, you see, not practicing with that knee injury, so he didn't practice today, nor did he practice yesterday. If he doesn't play on Sunday, it would be Boston Scott, it would be Corey Clement, it would be Jason Huntley, who I like the way Jason Huntley attacks the line of scrimmage. I like his burst.
Explosive, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got a chance to get something going here in a run game, Fran, that's been interesting to watch. 96 yards against the Giants, almost 200 yards rushing. Who's doing the crazy legs there? 200 yards nearly against the Baltimore Ravens, the big 74-yard touchdown run against the Steelers. You see signs that this running game is really picking it up, but all of those changes along the offensive line have made it difficult to be consistent.
No question. I think, to me, the game against New York last Thursday night was a good example of them kind of starting to turn the corner, because it wasn't like they got one large chunk and then it was a bunch of nothing after that. They were able to kind of sustain. You saw a bunch of 8-yard runs, 7-yard runs. There was a 12-yard run late that helped set up the game-winning touchdown. So I think when you look at that, to me, that's a good sign, especially against the New York front. That's pretty good. That's where their strength of that defense was. So look, going up against the Dallas defense, can this be one of those games where they really kind of break out and get some confidence?
All right, here's a question for you. Who would you say top 3 through 7 games, top 3 pleasant surprises on this football team?
Good question. So
you go 1, I'll go 2. We'll both offer 1 for 3.
All right. So on the team, offense or defense,
yes.
I would say a big time pleasant surprise. I would say Josh Sweat, seeing his development, because he's taken, he was basically like a redshirt year as a rookie in 2018. Then he developed into a role player last year in 2019. Seeing him come through this year, and they're still playing a rotation, especially now that everybody is much more healthy coming off the edge. But he's given them some quality snaps and has been one of their more disruptive players against the run and the pass.
Fran, get your head out of the trenches. Come on. This is an obvious answer.
It's number 13.
It's number 13.
Yeah.
Come on.
I can't help it, man. I can't help it.
Jeez. All right. So we've got Sweat. We've got Fulgham. I've got a great number 3.
Who's your number 3?
My number 3 is Richard Rodgers.
Oh, nice. All right.
I'll tell you. I think Richard Rodgers, Travis Fulgham there, has been a playmaking machine. I think Richard Rodgers, who in 2015, I think the number was 54 catches for the Green Bay Packers. But in the 2 years he's been in Philadelphia, injured, third tight end, come in and block, play special teams. He's been Carson Wentz's go-to tight end. Big plays in that fourth quarter against the Giants. I mean, I got to give Richard Rodgers some major props. He's really kind of helped save this offense.
He's just been reliable. He's been there to make the catches that need to be made, especially down the stretch. That 30-yarder was crucial, obviously, in the game-winning drive.
Back-to-back plays, an 11-yarder and a 30.
Yeah, no question. Another guy I would throw in there is, just because we haven't seen him, right? For 3 years, we've been waiting to see, what will Jordan Milada look like? What will he look? and he steps in. Dave, you've been here for a long time. I've been an Eagles fan all my life. You know, when an offensive lineman comes in for the first, there might be some guys that just look, they're lost. They look like they're not going to ever be a competent lineman. I never once saw Jordan Milada over the last 3 weeks and said, yeah, this kid looks, it's too big. It's too big for him. I think that he's shown that he's got the ability to stick. Now it's what can he continue to build off of.
Here's my thing with Jordan. His body was never conditioned as a young man to play football, to understand what it takes to go week to week to week. So for me, this year, going through these few games that he's played, the play has been up and down, there's no doubt, but you certainly see the ability. Can he physically hold up week after week? And so this year is going to kind of be the base for Jordan Milada.
Exactly.
And then in the future, you go, all right, well, yeah, he held up okay. But certainly the skills are there. Now, this week, we saw yesterday with Lane Johnson not practicing, with Jason Peters practicing, Milada can play left side and play right side. Right? So we don't know if he's going to line up, but at least you know that Jordan has some starting experience should Lane Johnson not be able to play in this game.
Yeah, and I think that that's why they've always stressed flexibility and versatility as Jalen Hurts plays for the camera.
Jalen Hurts get a little camera time.
They've always stressed that versatility along the offensive line for these reasons.
Can I give you an honorable mention on our list?
Yeah.
I would give you Alex Singleton.
Sure, that's a great one.
All right?
That's a great one.
Given a chance to play, he's filled the role nicely. I mean, he's not superstar,
right?
But he's making plays. He showed his power when he blitzed and bowled over the Giants' back last week. The big play, of course, against San Francisco. So I would put Alex on that list as well. I like Josh Sweat though. The Josh Sweat one. Josh Sweat is like one of those under the radar, pretty darn good.
He just keeps getting better, and that's like that. And that's all you can ask for in terms of player development. Is just watching guys continue to make strides. You know what guys can do coming out of college physically, but it's a whole different game coming to the NFL, and just seeing guys kind of embrace that. Not everybody does it right away. We saw Avonte Maddox step in and be a nice role player as a rookie, and that's not everybody. And some guys turn into great players by year 3. It just takes time.
And the thing with Sweat is, let's just talk about his past. 5-star recruit coming out of high school.
He was like a number one guy, number one recruit.
But had like this horrific knee injury.
Yep.
Had another knee injury in college, right?
Yep.
And so it's clearly, I mean, you could kind of see him dragging that leg around. Not anymore.
No.
You see the burst.
And he's long, he's disruptive, he's explosive off the ball. You see him here playing special teams. I think you look at Josh Sweat and continue to project and say, okay, well, what is he in 2021? What is he in 2022? It's exciting. It's good because the guy's got a really impressive skill set, a 4th-round pick who is starting to pay dividends.
And then John Hightower, as we talked about a bit earlier, I really liked Aaron Moorhead this week, wide receivers coach, flat out saying, in that Washington game, John Hightower played timid football.
Yep.
And then he came right back, got into the face of Jalen Ramsey. This is why preseason, people, it's so important. You get an understanding of the tempo, the physicality, the intensity of what an NFL regular season game is like.
Yep.
And Hightower, to me, I know he didn't catch the pass against Baltimore, but he gets open. I mean, he has legit speed.
He's explosive. And it's two of the things that we talked about already just sitting here in this segment, Dave. We talked about with Jake Elliott, how do you respond to adversity? So, Aaron Moorhead talks about that. Hey, he had a rough week 1. It was not a good performance for John Hightower in the opener. How does he bounce back from that? He's made big plays on an almost weekly basis. But then the other part is when we talk about Josh Sweat, let guys develop. Let guys get better. I think, a lot of fans wanted to see John Hightower come down with every single deep ball, every single shot that they take to him. That's not going to be the case. I think a lot of fans, you see the highlights of guys around the league. You see what Darius Slay did as a 5th or 6th round pick last year for the Giants. But you watch Darius Slay, you watch every snap. He dropped a lot of balls last year for New York. So you're going to go through those growing pains as a young player, and that's part of it. That's part of the development.
Terrell Owens, the most productive wide receiver in a single season that I ever saw, dropped a bunch of passes. It happens. It happens. This is our continuing coverage of the Philadelphia Eagles 2020 regular season, presented by DraftKings here at the NovaCare Complex. Inside, it is raining like crazy out there. Supposed to rain all day tomorrow as well. Eagles moving indoors. We're keeping our eyes on players like that guy right there, number 18, Jaylen Raeger.
Be your top 2 receivers for a long time right there.
not a bad group. Or you
No.
put Raeger in the slot and have Hightower outside.
Yep.
That wouldn't be bad, Fran.
No.
See, that's the thing about wide receivers. If you get it right, you don't have to go high in the draft.
Right.
You don't have to spend money in free agency. If you can have a wide receiver core of Fulgham and Hightower and Raeger and Watkins and Ward, that's you don't have to spend big dollars as we kind of project the salary cap going forward. You don't have to spend it at wide receiver.
No. Yeah, there's certain positions where you certainly can do that, and finding those young players and getting an idea of, hey, this guy has staying power. That's certainly huge for a team.
Alex Singleton could be bumped from getting a lot of playing time now with TJ Edwards back in the mix. Greg Ward Jr., Fran, touchdown against the Giants. Little flat route that he ran. Tell me about the brilliance of that route.
So all they did, it was actually a really cool play, because what they did, he started on the left side of the field, and Carson Wentz kind of stood up and brought him in motion, and he just starts kind of jogging across the formation and kind of lulling the defense to sleep. And midway through that, right when he got to the middle of the formation, he just took off. So the defense thinks, oh, it's just a simple motion, and then he just sprints to the pylon. The ball snapped, quick throw, and Greg Ward beats the defense to the pylon, and it's a touchdown. So nice little nifty play there, down on the goal line, low red zone play that brought the Eagles within a score.
And sticks that football over the goal line, keeping the Eagles alive. A win that was just so needed on Thursday night.
He's maybe been their best third down receiver all year, too. He's been so reliable. He gets open, works over the middle of the field. He's never going to be the big play guy, but it's 3rd and 6. You can count on him to get open and find 7.
We've got a big ball game on Sunday night. Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Make sure you are with us on PhiladelphiaEagles.com, as well as our official app and our social media channels. The Kickoff Show, presented by Exalta, starts at 7:35. Fran Duffy, Amy Campbell. I'll be making a little cameo as well from Fox Bet Lounge over at the Lincoln Financial Field.
Oh, yeah.
And then our post-game show presented by Rico immediately after the game. Fran, Amy, Ike Reese. I'll give you some immediate analysis as well.
Yep.
And we all expect the Eagles to take the momentum from the win over the Giants and carry that forth for 60 minutes. Come on. I don't want to give the Cowboys any life at all.
No.
I see them as a wounded animal, and that is a dangerous animal.
If you can give them another loss, I think that might be the tipping point for that team, just because of all the stuff that's going on down there this week. We'll see. Certainly you want to try and build on that momentum for us, because, look, it would be our first winning streak of the year.
You do wonder, Fran, what's going on in Dallas in terms of just like the in-locker room mojo. Players griping about the coaches a couple of weeks ago. Now some veterans being cut. But I think sometimes that gives young players a chance.
It does, yes.
And that kind of changes the energy of a locker room.
Yep, I think that absolutely is the case. And so that's why the Eagles need to be able to pounce on this team, force them to get into comeback mode. I think that'll be a huge part of this matchup.
And we don't know, but Dallas Goddard is eligible to play.
Yep.
He's practicing. You've seen him run around. Judge it for yourselves. To me, watching him yesterday and today in limited action, he looks good. Is he good enough to play?
He's been a Dallas killer over the course of the last couple of years.
Yeah, this is a couple of weeks earlier, I guess, maybe than we thought.
Yep.
Maybe Dallas takes a little rep here. We can kind of take a look at him. Who knows?
I believe he only did individual stuff yesterday, I believe.
Yes. Which is fine. You got to ease him back a little bit.
No question.
Good mobility there, good side to side. And this could be part of it with the 21-day activation. Got a window of time here to get ready. You don't want to rush him back. But you also don't want to take for granted the Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly.
And as much as I like Jason Kroom and I like Hakeem Butler, I think I like Dallas Goddard just a little bit more.
No question. They actually had there was an opportunity. They dialed up a play for Jason Kroom Thursday. It was, I believe, the second quarter. It was late first quarter, and it was a vertical route. He was about to break open, and pressure got to Carson Wentz. He had to get out of it. I think he ran out of it and checked down. But they had a play dialed up for Jason Kroom that would have gone for a big one, a former receiver who definitely has some speed down the field.
So Dallas Goddard working his way back his second day of practice here. activated to explain to you what that 21-day
Yes.
window means. Eagles at the end of those 21 days or anytime during those 21 days can activate him to the 53-man roster and he can play. Or they can have him practice all the way through to 21 days and then make a decision. The decision would be to either activate him, put him on injured reserve,
Yep.
or release him.
Correct.
I feel very confident that the Eagles are not releasing Dallas Goddard.
I think so. Yep.
I think we're going to see him activated sooner than later.
I would hope so. That would be huge. I think when you look at the injuries for this offense, and just going back to the beginning parts of the offseason, losing Brandon Brooks was big. Losing Dallas Goddard, I would argue, has been just as important, just because of the impact he has on both the run game and the passing game.
As big as Brandon Brooks?
I mean, I would say it's up there. To me, in my mind, it's almost a 1A, 1B because of what he does in both the run game and pass game. Brooks is an elite player. I love Brandon Brooks.
I would respectfully disagree only because it's a minor thing. It's just because Brandon's injury triggered a domino effect on the offensive line.
Yep.
And all the pretty boys who score the touchdowns, that's all great. But if you as a Dallas Cowboys,
Look at Dallas, yeah.
If you don't have an offensive line, now the Cowboys will be better. Zach Martin will practice this week.
Yep.
Joe Looney is activated from the during that 21-day window at center. But they just have their tackles are really struggling.
Well, they're talking about putting Zach Martin at right tackle potentially.
Oh, is that what they talked about?
He played college. He played tackle at Notre Dame, and I know he saw some snaps there this year as well. So they're talking about potentially putting him at right tackle. But who knows? I mean, they're obviously going to keep that clouded leading up to the matchup, so they don't know who's going to line up where.
We are live on this Thursday afternoon at the NovaCare Complex. Our continuing coverage of the Philadelphia Eagles 2020 regular season, presented by DraftKings. We pull back the curtain. We bring you literally on the inside as the Eagles forced to go indoors today with the very heavy rains in South Philadelphia. The weather forecast for Sunday, high of 59, low of 37. So by the time kickoff happens, it's going to be chilly. But we'll get you all caught up to date. Make sure you're tuned into the Kickoff Show, presented by Exalta, 7:35 on all Philadelphia Eagles platforms. I would say Fletcher Cox is getting a rest day in his casual, maybe not. He's got the helmet on.
He's got the helmet.
Yeah. Lane Johnson, I saw him walking around in uniform, which is good to see.
Not sure if I saw the helmet with Lane.
Yeah, I did not see the helmet, but he could. That doesn't mean he didn't have it.
Yeah, it was good to see Malik Jackson go through that.
Yes, it was.
It would be good to have him back. He's been really, really good this year.
Yeah, and defensive tackle, losing Hassan Ridgeway, fans might say, well, he's just a fourth defensive tackle. But the way the Eagles want to play that is to rotate, keep everybody fresh, and wear down offensive linemen.
Yep.
Give me the comparison, Fran. T.Y. McGill and Hassan Ridgeway.
Yeah. I mean, Hassan Ridgeway, he was one of my guys that I thought really stood out in the summer. And I thought he had a really good camp, showed up in one-on-ones, he showed up in team drills. And then when you look at T.Y., he's a young player that the Eagles have had a couple of times here. He's got, I would say, the same kind of well-rounded skill set that Hassan Ridgeway has, in that he could play both the run and the pass, I would say, equally well. Not dominant in any one area, but he's got some disruptive ability. He was around the ball the other night.
Avonte Maddox should have his workload increased this week after returning to the lineup against the Giants, playing sparingly. That's a good sign. Eagles getting healthy, people. This is great news. I know the 4-1 start has been unsettling to all of us, but sometimes it's not how you start, Fran, it's how you finish.
Yep. The Eagles I think they were really smart to kind of slow play it with Avonte Maddox the last couple of weeks, because you think about the teams they played the last two games. New York Giants, they weren't a huge three-receiver team. They're not super deep at receiver. Baltimore, they play a ton of two tight end sets. They're not extremely deep at receiver. So there was no need to necessarily rush Avonte back. Now you play the Dallas Cowboys. They play with three receivers more than anybody in the NFL. So you needed him 100% healthy for this game to make sure that you were kind of playing at full strength in the secondary.
Of course, it's amazing. We've talked about Dallas. We've talked about Dallas. We haven't mentioned Ezekiel Elliott.
Who's been so effective against the Eagles over the course of his entire career.
5-1, averaging 4.74 yards per carry. Been a major weapon in the pass game. And when people, my friends who are Cowboys fans, they go, Zeke's just another running back right now. And I wondered, has he lost a little edge? Or is it
Maybe.
just the offensive line?
I think it's a little bit of both here, Dave. Because the offensive line, obviously, look, they can't protect whoever's a quarterback, but they haven't been able to open up a lot of holes in the run game either. So that hasn't necessarily helped it. That being said, the reason why you pay Ezekiel Elliott that money is to overcome some of that. So I would say it's been a little bit of both.
I gotta say, a top 5 draft pick, top 10 draft pick. Unless somebody is just otherworldly, I'm not taking a running back. Probably not taking tight end or a wide receiver either. Maybe I'm just old school. I'm going lineman. Lineman, cornerback, quarterback. I just think you don't have. You can find receivers, you can find running backs, but you can't find great defensive linemen. Can't find great offensive linemen. Although there are exceptions.
It's tough. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're really close, which I think Dallas, kind of felt like they were really close at that point, then maybe you try and take that running back high and see if you can kind of, he can carry you. He did for a couple years, but the nature of that position, you get banged up and you fall off quickly.
Well, Fletcher getting a full workout in. He and Brandon Graham, who has never had double-digit sacks, who has never been in the Pro Bowl, suddenly is tied for third in the NFL with 6 quarterback sacks. High numbers of tackles for loss, quarterback hits, tackles, great energy, incredible leadership. Let's get BG to the Pro Bowl, even though there's not going to be a Pro Bowl this year. Will they still name a Pro Bowl team?
I think they will still name it, yes.
Pro Bowl team, yeah. Fletcher's just picking on the tackling, whatever that is, dummy, I guess it is. I wonder who that's modeled after. A hairstyle. I have to ask Doug Peterson that question. Or Greg Delamitros.
Does it resemble Ben DiNucci?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, wouldn't you want to each day say, hey, each game.
Swap it out?
Is it Tom Brady? Is it from the Super Bowl? Joe Ostman there?
That would be impressive if they had one built for Ben DiNucci.
I mean, that would be
Yeah,
impressive.
that foresight.
I think we got to get Coach on that one. Get Greg D on that one. There's head coach Doug Peterson. Rich Scangarillo in the foreground. Sharif Miller back on the practice squad.
Yep. Have him back. Philadelphia native.
Got to just keep working all the technique with him, huh?
That's it.
And then Carson Wentz on this Thursday after just a terrific fourth quarter. And his fourth quarters have been outstanding in this 2020 season. And he talked about it yesterday, how he enjoys playing kind of when it's like not structured necessarily. And how can you incorporate that mentality into the early part of a game? And I thought what was interesting was that Carson says sometimes when you're playing down the stretch, you're much more willing to make a risky throw because you have to make a risky throw.
Fall on the line. You make it or you don't.
And when you do it early and you get intercepted, people go, what the heck are you doing?
Right, yep. I mean, to answer your question, I think one of the ways you do that is you go tempo early. I think the Eagles have done that over the last couple of weeks. So I'd say over the last 2-3 weeks, they've definitely used a little bit more tempo early in games to try and just speed things up and get that mentality going.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say Jason Huntley is the leading rusher this week.
Whoa,
how about that?
That's a bold one. Nice.
If Miles doesn't play.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to say he's getting over 60 yards.
You're telling everybody fantasy football, go pick up Jason Huntley.
Well, no, it means absolutely. I have no idea if he's gotten a single rep in team this week. I just like the way he carried the football.
Yeah.
He reminds me of, if you remember the old days, Vaughn Hebron.
Oh.
How about that? 2-time Super Bowl winner. All right, that'll do it for our coverage today of the Philadelphia Eagles 2020 regular season practice here at the NovaCare Complex. Trust in the Eagles. Big one on Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. We thank DraftKings for presenting our coverage today. And a reminder, the Kickoff Show, tune in, 7:35 on Sunday night, presented by Exalted. Dave Spadero, Fran Duffy. We thank you all for joining us. Dallas sucks. Have yourselves a great Eagles day, and fly, Eagles, fly.